As a familiar matchup on Super Wildcard Weekend, the Ravens head to Nashville to take on the Titans. That's, of course, the team that knocked them out, that upset them in the playoffs last season. Now, Lamar was asked yesterday, a reigning MVP was asked if his 0-2 playoff record is on his mind right now ahead of Sunday's action.
Oh, for sure. It's when to go home right now. I want to win regardless. I don't really care about what people got to say. I only been in the playoffs twice. My young career, other people been in the league forever, haven't been in the playoffs at all, but it is what it is, but definitely trying to erase that narrative right there. That's the number one right now in my mind, for sure.
Honest answer there. Tennessee has beaten Baltimore the last 2 times, guys, that they've gone head-to-head. Do we think that the Titans' recent success over the Ravens will have an impact on Sunday, Shrigs?
It's interesting because you think Ravens-Titans, and you're like, well, that's not one of the great NFL rivalries. But then you go back to, like, Eddie George and Ray Lewis, and you go back to what's been happening in recent years, and suddenly you've got these last 2 seasons where in the playoffs, the Titans stopped this miracle Ravens run, and then in the regular season, we already turned the page. We move on. We go, do you remember this from the regular season?
Goes under the radar, doesn't it?
Let's talk about Mike Vrabel and John Harbaugh and some of the, I don't know, brouhaha. This is the Titans before the game on the Ravens logo.
On the logo.
Warming up, stretching, and then Harbaugh comes up to Malcolm Butler and A.J. Brown and it's like, dude, guys, get off of this. Get out of here. Then there's laughing, and then Vrabel comes out and is like, you don't talk to my players that way. Get him out of here. He doesn't speak to my players like here. Justin Tucker wants to warm up and kick 80 yards. Harbaugh, Vrabel, jawing. This is after the game.
Little icy.
Look at this. Harbaugh doesn't want to hear from him. Get out of here.
Yeah, fine.
Woo!
See you in the
We
playoffs.
got something. This is playoff football.
Yeah.
You can't get fired up for this. This is
awesome.
it. The Ravens are a proud organization. They are a proud franchise. That M&T Bank Stadium means a lot to them. The last 2 times these teams played, the Titans came in, they bullied them, they outmanned them. They looked them in the eye and said, we're not only going to push you around and beat you, we're going to dance on your logo and then not shake your hand afterwards. I get so fired up for this. I do think it plays a role. I think it plays a huge role. And I think as much as we talk about Ravens Steelers and Ravens Browns and even Ravens Bengals, this is quietly a game that I can imagine the Baltimore Ravens players and coaching staff are getting really fired up about. They don't beat us 3 times in a row. They certainly don't out-bully us, and they certainly don't administer their will on us. I think the Ravens are going to come out ready to fight, and I cannot wait for this.
Peter!
Let's
go!
Okay.
My goodness. Woo! That's the game of the weekend, in my opinion. 6 games, this is the one I'm looking at. And you're right. In Maryland, that crest thing that they put everywhere, that's important to them. And I think the Titans knew that. Wow. All right. So when you get these teams sometimes, I think that see Lamar, that don't see him in the division, I think sometimes we see, oh my God, I didn't know he was that fast. I didn't know he was that good, which is my answer to the question is yes. I do think it will help the Titans because let's just go on the journey quickly of what they've seen from Lamar. They've seen him a few times. They've seen him 3 times. We've talked about it. This is Lamar's rookie season. He came in for 1 snap, went for a 22-yard run and came out. This was the Joe Flacco show. He played 1 snap. He did not throw a pass. He ran a 22-yard run, then right back to the sideline, and Flacco goes, and they win 21-0. So we're like, wow, that rookie looks pretty good. I hope they don't ever end up starting him. We might be in trouble. Well, sure enough, fast forward many months. We know that the Ravens had won, felt like 30 in a row. First series of the game of their first playoff game, bam, off the hands, pick. All of a sudden, the momentum starts to shift. Oh, my God, is Tennessee going to shock the Ravens? They've been off for a couple weeks, but they've been the best team in the league by far.
Yeah.
Then later in the second half, the Titans got them again. We couldn't believe what we were seeing. It's a Saturday night playoff game. No one was going to test the Ravens, certainly not the Titans, even though they had beaten Brady the year before. Then you get him this year. Lamar says after this game, we weren't ready for him. This year, they beat him again. Lamar, they're going to try to go deep. Look at this pass. This is not Lamar's best pass of his career. It's going to be picked off. The Titans have nothing about them that are impressed, let alone in awe of the reigning MVP, the fastest quarterback in league history. Sunglasses on the sideline, big trust, John Harbaugh. They're over it. They've beaten it. They've broken it. They've done it on the biggest of stages. I think we have seen teams get shook when they see Lamar. 1 run from him, 1 series from him. Oh my gosh, how are we going to play our game? This guy's too fast and too good. The Titans have none of that. This is the best game of the weekend, and it's a huge part of the Titans knowing that we already beat these guys. We can do it again. And the Ravens being so pissed about it. I need more of that Vrabel Harbaugh footage. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
The greatest thing.
Gosh.
You can add some music behind it. It seems like a movie trailer. The Titans, they're tough. And they do want to They want to impose their will on the teams that they face. There's a factor of toughness that I think they're going to go into this game with, hoping that they can bend the will of the Ravens. You guys are spot on about the setup for the game. But I think Lamar Jackson is seeing this very clearly. He was talking very honestly and transparently saying, listen, there's a lot of quarterbacks that's been in the league a long time and never touched the playoffs. I've been there a couple of times already, but I understand the narrative. And that one sentence, he compliments himself, pats himself on the back, but he also is very aware of what people are saying about him. Certain teams you face, how they play against you. The moment of the playoffs, could it be too big for you? I say, new team, new moment. Anything that has happened in the past, everything that has happened in the past, the Ravens aren't going into the game. This is a different squad. Lamar Jackson is taking the team on his shoulders. He's taking off and running when he needs to. He's throwing the ball well. J.K. Dobbins looks fantastic. Mark Ingram is still there, regardless of how much they use him. He's still the voice. That defense is stepping up and making plays. And regardless of how tough we think Vrabel is, which he was as a player and he is as a coach, Harbaugh has been there and done that. Yeah. That dude's tough too. So there's a simple fact that Harbaugh didn't want to be the bigger man and say, hey, man, listen, young coach, give me a hug, man. Let's really talk about it. Nah, he looked at him, gave him a glare, and he was like, you know what? I will see you again. That last glance that I saw, that wasn't, hey, Braves, man, good job. I'll see you at the coaches meeting over the summer. Nah, that was, I hope we see you again. And when we do, we're going to have something for you. So for me, I feel like this is a new team, new moment, and this is going to be a new vibe from Lamar Jackson.
This defense for the Titans, Triggs, is not the same defense that stopped the Ravens' offense in the playoffs last year. I actually don't think it's the same defense that they faced earlier in the season. They've given up just under 40 points in the last two games. They don't really scare me, this Titans defense. Do you have any thoughts on that and how they've looked? I just don't see them actually stopping the Ravens' offense. So I do think that Tannehill and company through the air, Derrick Henry on the ground, certainly, they're going to have to go off. It'll be a bit different than what went down last year.
Yeah, and the truth is they can't rush the quarterback. But I don't know if anyone can rush Lamar. So their biggest weakness as a defense is they can't sack anyone. So the quarterbacks can just sit all day. Deshaun Watson could pick them apart.
But they're bottom 10 in every metric as far as defense all year.
I don't know if pass rush is what stops Lamar Jackson. So it's almost like their greatest weakness doesn't even come into play for this particular quarterback.
I would disagree, though. That playoff game we keep showing, we show the interceptions all the time. I just did it. They sacked Lamar 4 times in that game. They have not sacked a single quarterback 4 times this whole year. They don't have a 4-sack game. They did it in the playoffs.
I'll add this. Lamar's numbers in the playoffs don't look so bad because he put up a lot of numbers against the Chargers in that game where it was long over in the second half. All of a sudden, they let him throw, remember, in the playoffs. And then last year, that game was done by the third quarter after they went for it on 4th and 1. And then Lamar just put up a bunch.
His numbers are huge. I think he's over 50 passes.
His numbers are enormous, but they're fake numbers. They're not real numbers. Lamar Jackson has really struggled in the playoffs when the games matter in the first half.
And here's the thing. When it comes to the Titans, I know they realize their defense is a little bit suspect. On the offense side of the ball, they put up points.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go into a season where a coach will literally look at your squad, your whole team's sitting in a meeting room and saying, one side of our ball isn't as good as the other. Offense, we're going to need you to score 40 points. And the thing about the Titans offense, they can. The question is, if Lamar Jackson needs to put up 40 points to beat the Titans, can he do that? That's the big